Today I fucked up by accidentally discovering that I'm adopted. Hi, all of this happened last night and I'm still not able to process it. I haven't told anyone about this, not even my friends. So I, 21M, have this cousin from my mom's side who lives in Vancouver. Never met the guy before yesterday because our families just never really connected or whatever. Anyway, cousin Jake, not his real name, is in town for some work conference and decided to stop by for dinner. Nice to finally meet extended family, right? Well, no. We're all having this totally normal dinner, talking about Jake's job, my college and stuff. My dad likes to gamble a lot and seems like Jake is on the same boat, so they started to talk about it right until my mom busts out the old photo albums and we're flipping through pics from before I was born. I make some joke about how dad's mullet was a crime against humanity and Jake laughs and says, well, at least your biological dad didn't give you the ginger gene like my side of the family. He was a funny guy, so I thought he was just trolling me. I literally couldn't breathe. My tension went so high and I got very dizzy. The room literally froze. Jake looked confused and then horrified as he realized what he'd done. It was a fucking mess. Turns out I'm fully adopted and everybody knows except me. I also felt really bad for the cousin because I know he didn't mean to say it, because now my dad is very angry at him and I know it's not my fault, but it still kinda feels my fault. I don't know why. I just don't know what to do. I'm not being able to process this at all and it's a very hard thing. I'm thinking of trying to go and find out who my real parents are. I just don't know what to do. Too long did not read. Accidentally discovered I'm adopted. It sounds more like your family fucked up in this situation. You discovered an important thing about yourself, something your family seemingly tried to hide from you for a very long time. And in such a poor way. If they wanted to keep it a secret, it shouldn't have been information that everybody knew. Knowing you're adopted, even if you have no desire to meet your biological parents, can be important when talking about medical history, even if it's just to say, the fact that my dad had X and my mom had Y, and my grandmother has a history of Z, is completely irrelevant information. It's insane that at 21 they never told you. I mean, at this point you know they love you. They literally chose you. It's not like they were stuck with a kid. Lol. But sometimes health-related stuff can happen. It can be good to know your genetic history is different than what you thought. You did not foo. Remember that you were chosen by this family. Not a foo on your part or your cousins. Your parents should have been open about this from day one. My aunt and uncle adopted 2 children and have always been open about the adoption. They have a close and affectionate relationship with their children who are now grown. It's not a big deal and it shouldn't be treated like some dark family secret. Your dad is pissed at himself, not your cousin, because he knows he and your mom dropped the ball by not being honest when they should have. Now they are going to have to deal with it, though obviously they didn't want to. I'm confused by, he was a funny guy so I thought he was just trolling me. Immediately followed by, I literally couldn't breathe. My tension went so high and I got very dizzy. Is there something missing in the middle? Did you think he was just joking, or did it immediately stress you out? Today I fucked up by taking a pregnancy test and ending up at the hospital. Technically this was not today, but recently. As a quick backstory, I, 24F, have been diagnosed with PCOS, and was told that I may still be able to have children but that it would be harder due to the irregular cycle I have. There are tests and medication the doctors have offered, but in this economy and the healthcare prices, I get so angry that I have to jump through all of these expensive hoops, so I have not continued the fertility testing treatment process. To put it simply, I have been wanting children since the day I turned 18, and if all worked properly I would have. So I am pretty positive it will be a process for me to get pregnant, but until I can fully afford the testing, without having to put the rest of my life on pause, I just track my cycle and test periodically for ovulation and pregnancy. Basically, my period could come 2x a month or skip 7 months with no warning, and that is completely normal for me. Because of this, I never really think I'm pregnant, but if I haven't had my period in more than a month, I'll randomly take pregnancy tests when I think about it. These tests are never planned, I just always have tests in my bathroom. Anyway, to the day in question. My boyfriend, 29M, and I were running errands on a Saturday morning. We had been out and about from 10 p.m. and I didn't once stop to use a restroom. On the way home, I started needing to pee, and I was cool with waiting to get home. Once we got home, we had to take out the groceries away and take the dogs outside. Taking the dogs out took about 15 minutes since we live in an apartment. By the time we made it back inside I could barely hold it. I walked into the restroom and randomly thought of how I had not had my period in like 3 months and I could take a test right then. For a split second I debated but thought I would forget to take one if I didn't do it right then. So I start searching for my box of tests. I look under the sink. It's not there. I look in the cabinet behind the toilet. Nope. Finally I check in the closet, and I find it. I struggle to open the test and prep the test. This test is the small test strip type that you dip in the pee? I hope that makes sense. I'm opening the package and everything while barely holding onto my pee. Finally, I waddle over to the toilet and go to sit down. Instead of feeling the relief of releasing my bladder, I felt the worst pain I've ever felt shoot through my entire back and hips, and because of the way I sat down, the pain didn't seem to want to go away until I got up. So the entire time I was peeing, the pain was shooting through me to the point where I was bawling tears before I finished peeing. When I finished, I went to stand back up and couldn't fully due to the pain. I had to walk from the toilet to my bed bent over in horrible pain with my pants, underwear at my knees. When I got to the bed, I thought I would be fine and I could just lay down. Nope, I couldn't even get on the bed because I couldn't move my back without the pain getting worse. So I yelled to my boyfriend because all I could do was cry in pain with my chest laying on the bed while I was stuck bent over. He came running in to find me with my ass out, sobbing, saying unintelligible words. I finally tell him that my back hurts and I can't move, and he helps me climb onto the bed and lay down. However, the entire time I am just screaming through pain because no matter which way I moved, if I put any pressure on my lower back it made the pain worse. And since I was so worked up I was shaking and using more of my core, which just continued to make the pain worse. I started going into a full-blown panic, meltdown. I called my dad and he told me to go to urgent care if I needed to. I then called my best friend who had recently gone through similar back pain and had gone to have an MRI done. She gave me some tips on how to lay down to have the least pressure and hopefully calm the pain. Finally, after getting off the phone, I was still crying in pain. My boyfriend offered to call the ambulance and I said no because we live in America, BFR. Then he said he'd take me, but when I tried to get up to walk to the car I couldn't. I ended up laying there crying in pain for 2 hours, simply because I couldn't handle trying to walk because of how bad it hurt. Finally, after 2 hours, it has calmed enough for me to walk to the car and into the hospital. I get checked out, which was a huge waste of time and money because by the time we left, all they had told me is I did not have a UTI, and I wasn't pregnant. They couldn't at all tell me why my back did that or if it would be a problem. They offered PT and sent me home. I later received bills totaling in about $2,000 out of pocket, $1,850 deductible, for almost nothing. After 2 days, the pain finally fully went away and luckily I have not had that happen again. However, it probably wouldn't have happened if I just left the pregnancy test alone. Too long did not read. I held my pee too long and still tried to take a pregnancy test when using the restroom, which caused hours of unbearable pain leading to a hospital visit, $2,000 in medical bills, and still no positive pregnancy. Did they do a CT scan? If it was lower, mid-back, below your rib cage, it could have been a kidney stone. It's the worst pain I've ever felt. I thought I was dying and almost threw up from how bad the pain was. It was so bad the morphine IV didn't fully ease it. Could be a kidney or bladder stone, or a ruptured ovarian cyst. They can often grow to a large enough size that they rupture caused by trauma, impact, like sitting down heavy on the loo. I've had multiple, with 2 ruptured cysts sending me to hospital. So unbelievably painful. Being as though you have PCOS and not being on the pill. From the info I gathered you are not on birth control, which in my opinion makes an ovarian cyst more likely. The good news is, if it settled down, there's not much you need to do apart from pain relief and writing it out. Larger cysts do need surgery sometimes, but are usually managed via using the pill, which is obviously not appropriate for you. The fact so many parts of this story boil down to, American healthcare is unaffordable, is truly dystopic shit. Good luck with your journey op. My wife is also PCOS, and we ended up going down the IVF route semi-privately in the UK. But we've got 2 boys to show for it, and they're 100% the best £10,000 each we've spent. Could also be a trapped nerve. One thing to keep in mind with a lot of back pain. Once you trigger it, it's something you tend to be susceptible to in the future. It's always something innocuous that gets you as well. Good luck on the pregnancy front, hope it works out for you. Please go see an OBGYN. ERs are notorious for the treatment you received and I am so sorry that happened to you. Sounds like it could be any one of the comments here, and if it is something, you need to find out in case it's detrimental to your health or chance of having that bundle of joy you've always wanted. This is giving kidney stones. I've had them many times and the pain is worse than childbirth, I would scream. I even called an ambulance a few times because the pain was so intensely bad.